My name is John Pritting, and I just wrote my first novel, Sixth Seal, which has just been awarded a gold medal with an international book competition known as the Independent Publishers Book Awards for the year 2009. I write under the pen name of J.M. Emanuel, by the way. And in my book, it basically follows the adventures of three protagonists who are running from the persecution of the Antichrist, who is created by a clone from Satan. And they travel from the central mountains of Arizona through the deserts of Imperial Valley and on into Mexicali and up into Guadalupe Canyon as they try to find a safe haven from which they can promote God's word about the real return of Christ. And in the process there is some unveiling scriptures which could possibly be contested, will certainly be an eye-opener to people who are not familiar with scriptures about the end of the world, but I think will certainly bring a appreciation from the masses about the book of Revelation and encourage all of them to read the book for their own edification about how the end of the world comes about.
You say that it is not a religious book, but it deals with biblical references, the Antichrist. How would you categorize it?
I would categorize it as a mystery, thriller, action-adventure story. It does play into biblical prophecies, but not much different from the Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, or the book of Constantine, where Keanu Reeves played the protagonist in that story. But in all these stories, they do play to biblical references as well. So I don't want to misrepresent myself as being anyone representing any certain denomination, belief, religious belief, and that it is just a fictional story, and I hope you'll all read it and enjoy the adventure.
Any reason why you decided to use a pen name?
I had multiple reasons for that, most of which I don't wish to disclose at this time, but ultimately I wanted to maintain some anonymity as this book continues down the path.
And how did you go about the writing process? I mean, you have no background in writing except for technical writing, for grant proposal writing. This is your first novel. How did you swing it, and how long did it take you to get it going?
It's been a long process. I've always been fascinated with writing, especially the concept of writing my own book. I have taken creative writing courses throughout my career, not only through my degree programs and my bachelor's and master's degree, but also pursuing extracurricular training in creative writing. I've sought the help of others who are professional writers, getting their influence and their feedback, and this is my first shot at it, and I'm as surprised as anyone else about the fact that it has climbed at this level.
Very good. And this book is self-published, correct?
That's correct. I initially tried to publish through the standard methods of trying to get an agent. I sent out over 30 query letters. Of all those letters, I received responses from 4 or 5. Each of them said they thought I had a great book, but they were not in the market of taking on an unpublished and unknown writer. They all had a full complement of their own writers who were already submitting manuscripts for publication, and these of course were all writers who were already established and published. So in other words, they weren't willing to take on any risks. So that's when I considered to pursue the self-publishing avenue, and I explored many options and opted to go with Amazon.com, who had the best package, I thought, to follow for self-publishing.
Let me see. And any plans right now in the immediate future to write a second novel?
Well, I kind of set the book up to have a sequel. I'm still considering ideas of how I would write that sequel, or whether or not I want to go in a different direction altogether and maybe hold that off for another time. But I'm kind of waiting to see how this one pans out before I pursue my second novel.
And how long did it take you to write this book?
This one took about 3.5 years. There's a tremendous amount of research that goes into writing a book. If you want to have anything substantial, it has to have a sound foundation. You have to make sure that your facts are somewhat accurate if you want to incur the interest of the public. And that was my challenge, and what I pursued to present was a sound foundation with strong facts and a nice story to top it off.
Right. And what advice would you want to give to aspiring writers who are in your boat, who were in your shoes at one time? No agents, no established record, no background. What would you tell them?
Motivation. You've got to be motivated. You've got to be willing to take up the challenge. You have to endeavor to persevere are key words that I love. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of letdowns. Don't be discouraged. There are a lot of people in the same market we are, unpublished writers who have a great story that need to get it to market. There are people out there who want to publish your story. Don't give up.
Very good. Thank you so much, Mr. Pritting.
Thank you.